There are so many ways to drive the story within your films, from the script to pre-production, composition and framing, and so much more, but a really fun one for me, and one I feel like isn't talked about too much, and that's transitions. If done intentionally, transitions can not only take your viewers from point A to point B seamlessly, but also shape the overall tone and emotion for the scene and set your viewers up well for what's to come next. Hey, what's happening everyone? My name is Ryan, and today I'm gonna show you a few simple but very effective transitions that you could use to elevate the story in your next film. Let's get into it. So there have been so many times where I'm watching a movie and there's some crazy transition that takes us from point A to point B in a powerful way, and the best part was, I didn't even notice it. And that is the beauty of a purposeful and story-driven transition. When done well, transitions can really carry the audience onto the next piece of the story naturally, and they won't even need to think about it. It's just really enjoyable and fun to watch. Now, in this day and age, this is something that most people are gonna expect this in a good film. So it's really important for us as filmmakers to get this right in production. But with all of that said, it's really important to know why and how to use these transitions to drive the story and the narrative within your film. First, let's talk about why. The number one reason for me is just to enhance the pace and the overall story. When I first started out, there have been plenty of times where I get the footage, I'm ready to go into the edit, super excited, just to find out that I totally forgot to film a transition to get our characters and our viewers from one place to the next. It can be super frustrating and throw the whole production off because now I'm thinking about how I'm gonna fix this transition. Now, there are a couple of ways that you can fix this in post, but we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. Using a creative transition won't always be necessary. Sometimes a simple cut is all a scene needs, but with super well thought out transitions that have a purpose in driving the narrative for the story can be the difference between a really good film and an excellent one. But you might be thinking, how can these transitions elevate the stories within our films? Let's talk about that. Now, there are many transitions out there that you could use, some in post-production, some in camera, and some others like audio transitions. There are probably way too many to share in this video, but we are gonna cover a few in each of those categories, so let's get into that. The first one that we're gonna cover today is the simple and humble fade. The fade will ease us in or out of the film, causing momentum to give the audience a little bit of time to process what just happened in the scene. Also, one thing to keep in mind when using the fade is that there are two main purposes. The first is a fade to black, and the next is a fade to white. The fade to black can indicate the ending of a moment or the overall film altogether, while a fade to white is commonly used when a character is dying or entering into a dream state. Another important thing to note is that the fade to white could also leave things open for interpretation. This is often used in films where they want the ending to have an open-ended ending and kind of force us to use our imagination. Did that character die? Did they survive? We don't know. It's all left up to interpretation. So just a little bonus there. The second transition in post-production that we're going to talk about today is the dissolve. Now, this can be used as a simple transition, but when used creatively, it can really showcase two separate moments or two separate things happening within the same moment. This is really great for scenes like if you wanted something to be really intense and you wanted to show what our character was looking at, but also see the expression on the character's face. You could blend these two moments together, sort of creating a third shot. It is super effective in being able to show everything that is going on within the scene at once. All right, next we're gonna talk about the whip pan. The whip pan is just a quick pan horizontally to blur the image in camera. This is commonly used in films when they want to switch over to something really fast and they need to hide the cut. It really adds a bit of action to the scene and a whole lot more energy than just a simple cut. This can be used mid-scene, but also even be used to cut to the next scene like I just did now. I was in the office, now I'm camping with my family, and I'm gonna get back to that, so let's head back to the office. The next transition we're gonna talk about is passing transitions or masking transitions. Now, these are usually used to mask or hide the cut and are really great for sticking together shots and make a scene look like one continuous shot. I like to use these to kind of further the pace within my films and even some of my YouTube videos. It also creates a lot of energy and a lot of interest, and it's just one simple thing. It's not an easy transition to do. You really have to get it right in camera, but this is a really fun and simple thing to do once you got the hang of how it's done. For this one, it's just a matter of piecing together two 2 separate clips, one with an object passing by your frame. Then from here is just a bit of masking and going frame by frame, making sure that everything is aligned as it's passing by. Now this might take a little bit of time and a little bit of work, but it's totally worth it if you're looking for something like a smooth transition. The next transition we're gonna talk about, and one of my favorites, is the match cut. Now this is something that's commonly talked about on YouTube or even online all the time, but it really is one of my favorite ways to transition our characters and our viewers from one space to the next. This could be done in so many different ways, like using shapes, colors, and even 2 separate times representing the same thing. Let's take this scene for example. We have this character that is experiencing this traumatic event. We see the light flickering from the flames on this character's face, and then we cut to the same expression and light flickering on the character's face, only this time it's from the candle that's lit in front of him. Another trick that you could use to couple the match cut and the dissolve is the match dissolve. Now this is the same idea as the match cut, but it's not so abrupt, and it smoothens the transition between the 2 scenes. Now this style of transition is really great if you want a soft transition into the next thing. Say something is really warm and light feeling. You don't want something super abrupt or chaotic. You want something very smooth and peaceful going into that next scene. And now moving on to the smash cut. Now for me, these are super fun, and I actually use them a lot in a lot of my films and even YouTube videos as well. This is a transition that will usually have a stark contrast within the visuals and the audio. This will typically be used to shock the audience by taking a scene from very chaotic to solitude in just a split second, or vice versa. Super fun. I highly recommend that you try that one out. Again, these are just a few of the transitions that I love personally. There are still so many more that we could talk about, and so many more that I love to use. We just couldn't fit them in this particular video, but if you'd like to learn more about those transitions and how we could use them, or if you have any questions about this video, then feel free to hit me up in the comments down below, because I'd love to answer those questions for you and make those videos for you. And I just love connecting with you guys. In the end, all of these transitions are going to do so many different things for different types of films. Whether it's an action movie or a drama or sci-fi, every film is gonna feel different with a different transition in mind. These are just in place to help you to further tell the story, but it's really, again, all about you, the filmmaker. So, like always on this channel, I just wanna encourage you to pick up your camera, try some of these techniques out for yourself, and just see what works best for you. But that's gonna do it for me, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me in this quick video. If you like this video or you learned something, please click the like button down below. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, friends.